During this video, we're going to be factoring expressions using the greatest common factor. So let's review a little bit before we start factoring expression. So you might be wondering, what is a factor? Well, basically a factor of a number is a number that divides the given number evenly or exactly, leaving no remainder. Note that when studying factors of a number, we only consider positive integers. A factor cannot be a fraction or a decimal. For example, 2 times 4 is equals to 8. So 2 and 4 are factors of 8. 8 is basically the product, okay? So let's think about the factors of 18. So when you think about 18, we're going to be making a list of all those numbers that I can put them together, multiplying them together, and it will give me 18. So I have 1. If I multiply 1 times 18, I will get 18. So 1 and 18 are factors. Also, if I multiply 2 times 9, that's another set of factors because 2 times 9 is 18. Also, if I multiply 3 times 6, I will get 18. So let's double check. If I multiply 1 and 18 is 18. 2 times 9 is also 18, and 3 times 6 is also 18, as well as backwards, 9 times 2, 6 times 3, and so on. So pause the video and try to think about what are the factors of 12. So let's see. 12. If I multiply 1 by 12, we'll get 12. So 1 and 12 are factors of 12. Also 2 times 6. 2 times 6 is 12. Also, let's think about another number. 3 times 4 is also 12. Now let's do another one just for fun. Pause the video and try to think about what are the number combinations that you can make that will give you 6 as a product. Very good. So we have 6. Let's think about 1 times 6, which is basically 6. And also 2 times 3 is 6. So it doesn't have that many factors, but it's totally fine. So 1 times 6 is 6. And also 2 times 3. So the factors of 6 are basically 1, 2, 3, and 6. Now that we got this little practice on listing factors of numbers, now we're ready to factor some expressions. We're going to be following these 4 steps whenever we're factoring expressions by using the greatest common factor. Okay? So here it says 24x negative 18. In order for me to factor this expression, I need to, step 1, list the factors of each term. So I'm going to list the factor of 24x. I'm going to make a list here. And I'm going to list the factors of 18. All right? So let's see. If I have 1 times 24, that will give me 24. All right? Also, 2 times 12. It is 24. 2 times 12. Hold on. Now that I think about 24 times x, it's also 24x. So I'm going to put an x here. 24 times x is 24x. So that could also apply. Let's think about another number. 3 times 8 is also 24. And last but not least, 4 times 6. Whoa, those are a lot of factors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, 24, and also x. Now let's think about those number combinations that you can make in order for you to get 18. So we have 1 times 18. 1 times 18. We also have 2 times 9 is 18. 2 times 9. Let me think about another set. How about 3 times 6? Yep. So now I'm done with step number 1. I made a list of the factors of each term on this expression. Step number 2, it says, circle the factors each term have in common. I see that in the 24x, 1 is repeated. So let me circle here. There's a 1 here and a 1 in the 18. Also, 2 is repeated, 3 is repeated, 6 is repeated. There are no other numbers that are repeated. So I am done with step number 2. Step number 3, it says, identify the greatest common factor that each term have in common. Well, this is the least one, the smallest number that they have in common. So the greatest one, the biggest number that they have in common, it is 6. So my greatest common factor is 6. So I am done with step 3. Step number 4, it says, use the greatest common factor to factor the expression. So now I have my expression. Let me rewrite it. 24x negative 18. So now I'm going to be using the distributive property that we learned from previous video, but I'm going to be using the 6 outside my parentheses. So 6 times what number will give me 24x? Yes, you got it right. 4x. 6 times 4x is 24. So now I need a number that when I multiply by 6, it will give me negative 18. So basically, I am rewriting this expression by using the distributive property. In this case, I am using the greatest common factor. So 6 times negative 3 is equals to negative 18. So this is how I factor 24x negative 18 by using the greatest common factor. So I'm done with step number 4. Now I would like you to pause the video and try to follow these 4 steps by yourself. Number 1, list the factors of each term. So we have 15x over here, and we also have 25. So let's think about those number combinations that you can make in order to get 15. So if I have 1 times 15, I'll get 15. Remember that also if I multiply 15 times x, I will get 15x. Another number set that I could use is 3 times 5. 3 times 5 will give me 15. Now I need to think about what numbers I could multiply to get 25. So if I multiply 1 times 25, I will get 25. And also 5 times 5. So I'm going to just put 1 5 in here. So I am done with step number 1. Step number 2, it says that I need to circle the factors that each term have in common. Well, basically here they only have 5 in common, okay? So I'm done with step number 2. Step number 3, it says that I need to identify the greatest factor that each term have in common. So in this case, my greatest common factor is 5. So now I already did step 3. Step 4, it says that I need to use these greatest common factor to factor my expression. So if I'm going to rewrite the expression, 15x positive 25. I'm going to be using 5 outside. Now I need to think about whenever I'm using the distributive property, what number multiplied by 5 will give me 15x? Yes, you got it right. 3x. Because 5 times 3x is equals to 15x. Very good. Now I need to think about what number multiplied by 5 will give me positive 25. So in this case, will be positive 5 because 5 times 5 is 25. So now I am done with step number 4. How about you try to factor this expression by yourself? Follow the 4 steps. So now I'm ready to do step number 1, which is list the factors of each term. 6x and 27. So now I need to think about what numbers I could multiply that will lead to my product, to my answer that is 6. So 1 times 6, it is 6. Remember that 6 times x is also 6x. Another number that I could use is 2 times 3. 2 times 3, that is equals to 6. So that's it. Oops, let me put a comma here so you don't think it's at 36. There you go. Now I need to think about 27. So 1 times 27 is 27. And also 3 times 9 is 27. Okay? So I am done with step number 1. Step number 2, it says, circle the factors each term have in common. So I see that they have 1, and they also have 3 in common, okay? So step number 3, it says that I need to identify the greatest factor that each term have in common. So my greatest common factor is 3. This is the biggest number that they share, that they have in common. So now I'm ready to follow step number 4, which is basically use the greatest common factor to factor my expression. I'm going to rewrite my expression, 6x negative 27, and then I'm going to use my greatest common factor as a distributive property. So it will be 3 times what is equals to 6x? Well, 2x. 3 times 2x is equals to 6x. Now I need to think about what number that I multiplied by 3 will give me negative 27. Yes, 3 times negative 9 will give me negative 27. So I am done with step number 4, and I just factor this expression. Pause the video and try to factor this expression by yourself. Right? Step number 1, it says that I need to make a list of the factors from each one of these terms. So 16 and also 24. So what numbers that I multiply them together will give me 16? Basically 1 times 16. Also 16 times n. 2 times 8 is also 16. 2 times 8. And also 4 times 4. I'm not going to repeat 4 here. I'm just going to put 4, all right? Because you get the idea that is 4 times 4. And so now let's make a list of the factors of 24. 1 times 24, it is 24. Also, 2 times 12, it is 24. 2 times 12. 3 times 8, it is 24. As well as 4 times 6. 4 times 6. There you go. So I am done with step number 1. Step number 2, it says that I need to make a circle of the factors that each term have in common. I see that 1 is a factor that they have in common. Also 2, well, there's not a 3 here, but there is a 4 here, and a number 8. That's it. I am done with step number 2. Step number 3, it says that I need to identify the greatest factor that each term have in common. So in this case, it's 8. So my greatest common factor is 8. Now I'm done with step 3. Step 4, it says that I need to use the greatest common factor to factor my expression. So I'm going to rewrite it here, 16n negative 24. I'm going to be using 8 as the distributive property, and I'm going to put a parenthesis. Now you need to think about what number multiplied by 8 will give me 16n. Yes, 8 times 2n will give me 16n. Now I need to think about 8 times what is negative 24. Yes, 8 times negative 3 is equals to negative 24. So now I'm done with step number 4. This is my final answer.